So I did some digging to check, and sure enough, there was an attempt.
You are in danger talking to me right now, so I should probably get out of here.
And I hadn't heard anything about this too, and that's what's surprising to me. But as soon as you start digging, it's right there.
3 men have been charged in New York tonight in connection with alleged Iranian plans to murder Donald Trump and other American citizens. The plan dates back to September, before the presidential election.
This is 3 assassination attempts. We have verified arrests here. Ted Cruz presented poorly in that conversation, but he wasn't lying when it comes to this.
What is true is Iran is trying to assassinate Donald J. Trump, and they have hired hitmen. Now, you pointed out...
No, he said that they have tried twice to kill him, and I don't know that... I don't have any evidence that's true, but I sort of wonder if that is true. Why aren't we at war with them already?
Now, looking back on that exchange, Tucker Carlson was kind of playing dumb. How could he not know about this? He's very close to Trump.
An Iranian asset was told to hire people in the United States to conduct surveillance on Donald Trump and ultimately to try to assassinate him.
Well, we have their names, we have their ages, we have where they're being held. They've been detained pending trial.
They were told that money was no object whatsoever. But if they couldn't get the plan together within 7 days, then they were to wait until Donald Trump loses the election, they were told, when the Iranians believed it would be easier to kill him.
So they saw him as a threat, even if he was not president. They want him gone. What does that tell us?
Top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani was killed in a US drone strike in Iraq at the end of Donald Trump's first term as president.
What the United States did yesterday should have been done long ago.
This was probably motivated by the killing of Soleimani.
As you know, there have been 2 assassination attempts on my life that we know of, and they may or may not involve, but possibly do, Iran.
His name is Farhad Shakeri, and he is admitted to working for the IRGC. He claims he was paid $500,000 to target Trump. And according to justice.gov, they have recordings of this confession. Evidence includes photographs they sent to one another, messages, and voice messages. So if the question is evidence, the government has the evidence. The public does not. Perhaps that is because of the response we've seen just from Ted Cruz sitting down with Tucker Carlson, where now I'm hearing claims of, well, if that were true, we would be justified in dropping a nuke.
This just seems like a huge headline, and you're acting like everyone knows this. I didn't know that.
Iran put out a whole video about murdering Trump.
Right, but I've never heard evidence that there are hitmen in the United States. I mean, trying to kill Trump right now, we should have a nationwide dragnet on this, and we should attack Iran immediately if that's true.
Watch how Ted Cruz responds to this. He's like, no, wait a minute.
Don't you think?
No.
If they're trying to assassinate our president?
They have been for 2 years.
There's a longer game being played here, potentially, is what I deduce from looking at this.
No, it's a big deal. What do you mean? When no one has been arrested for these assassination attempts on Trump.
Yes.
They've hired hitmen. How do we know that?
It's right there on justice.gov. Carlisle Rivera, 49 years old, from Brooklyn, New York. He appeared in court on November 7th, charged with murder for hire, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, money laundering. Haven't heard anything about that. What does this indicate? There has to be a reason.
President Biden said it would constitute an act of war if Iran tried to kill Donald Trump, after US intelligence services warned of a specific Iranian plot.
Perhaps that's why they have not been pushing this story out, because it would be considered an act of war. Perhaps Trump is trying to avoid war, and perhaps that is an indicator of why they just let this go away.
We've been threatened very directly by Iran, and I think you have to let them know, because the best way to do it is through the office of the president, that you do any attacks on former presidents or candidates for president, your country gets blown to smithereens, as we say.
They have not been convicted yet. As long as they're awaiting their hearing, it's not even solidified in concrete. Is that intentional? I don't know.
The Iranian regime insists Donald Trump should face trial for what the United Nations declared to be an unlawful killing of General Soleimani, and has said that if he's not tried in court, then Iran will take its revenge.
And this was 7 months ago, as a reminder. Now, this was yesterday on MSNBC.
I went to Iran in 2014. I was sitting at a rally. These young guys were chanting "Death to America." I had a minder. I said, "What are they saying?" They're saying "Death to America." They finished the chant, and 2 young men came over and said, "Are you American?" I said, "Yes." Says, "We want to welcome you to our country. We love American culture and love American movies." They wanted to talk about all these things. Iran is the most Western nation in the whole Middle East. We have much more in common with them than a lot of countries that we do have alliances with.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
They torture people. They throw them in prison. They killed Masa Amini for not wearing a headscarf.
And these are the things that we have so much in common with. Whether or not they pose a genuine threat has nothing to do with the cultural things that we have in common.
I just think that's a kind of naive, weirdly idealistic hope.
You have to let the people do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's democracy, isn't it?
You can point those things out and not seek regime change in order to deduce why they would wish death upon America if they were to have a nuclear weapon.
J.D. Vance posting a very long message on social media defending Donald Trump, saying that he's always been consistent about Iran. You can't have a country like Iran have a nuclear weapon. J.D. Vance, who is an isolationist.
Oh, the vice president. Maybe that's a clue because he has intelligence we don't.
I don't know if Theo Von is an emotional Donald Trump supporter like some of the hardcore bases. No, but Theo Von and the people who listen to him are the ones that helped Donald Trump win this time.
Theo Von doesn't have classified information, nor do I. And I don't know what the right move is. I can tell foolishness when I see it.
He's not looking at it peace versus war. He's looking at it, where are the cameras going? So Israel invades Iran. Suddenly, all the cameras are away from the budget bill, from everything on what's going on in the Middle East. And he wants to sneak back in the camera by saying, hey, maybe I'll get involved with this.
You could believe that it'd be a mistake to drop a bomb, but I think you would have to be a fool to believe that he's doing this for attention.
I mean, he's a guy who, as you know better than anybody, Katie, wants to be the bride at the wedding and the corpse at the funeral. Is there a war going on somewhere? I've got to get in it somehow. At least I have to be perceived that I could be a player.
It comes down to, is this a matter of life or death in his mind? There's going to be intelligence that they have that we don't have, and I don't know the answers to these questions. This is why we vote for a president, to make these very decisions.
I wonder, I mean, I want to say it doesn't matter, but I also think that Donald Trump is one that he doesn't listen to anybody. You know, he goes where he feels like going in the moment he feels like going there. I mean, you're talking about where the cameras are pointed. I think that that's not wrong.
It's almost like a level of hatred for Trump that is so high that they are willing to even close their eyes to a threat that could affect them and their families.
Why is it a foundational issue for Trump that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon?
It says because they chant death to America.
Because they treat death to America as political policy. We have video. When you chant death to America, it is not just a slogan, it is a policy.
He doesn't believe in death to America. He wants alliance with America. So we got to stop pushing those lies. They've been pleading for dialogue.
And just imagine the level of Secret Service security right now.
President, are you concerned that Iran or its proxies would wage terror attacks against American targets abroad if you order military action?
We're always concerned about that, and we have to take them out and be very strong. You're even in danger talking to me right now. Do you know that? You are in danger talking to me right now. So I should probably get out of here, but you guys are actually in danger. Can you believe it?
I don't know if it would be right to drop this bomb. I was purely intrigued about the claims of this plot to kill Trump and how it just kind of no one has talked about it. I would encourage everyone to do their own research. The articles are there. Type in the name.